Today's shiur begins 12 lines from the top of Daf Chof Daled. You'll notice that we have a triangle, and it's also counted as number 2. We're continuing with the discussion that we started at the tail end of our previous shiur. Do the Rabbanon disagree with Reb Ozer ben Yaakov regarding the realm in which Nidrei Ziruzim apply? According to Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, he has, we'll call it, an expanded version of Nidrei Ziruzim that they apply. Nidrei Ziruzim, again, are motivational vows that in truth have no true vow strength. They're not binding, they're simply motivational. Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, we saw in our previous year, extends that concept to areas beyond maso matan, beyond commercial transactions. The example that we saw when Nidrei Ziruzim was first introduced with the buyer and seller, as you may recall. So now the Gemara continues. Toshma ha'omer lechavero kainim she'ata ne'enis li im i'ata noisein livni kur shel chitim ushtei chavias shel yayin. The speaker, the vow maker, says that I will not allow you to benefit from me if you don't give to my son a kur, as a measure of chitim, of wheat, and shtei chavias, 2 barrels of wine. Rabbi Meir Omer, Oser ad shitein. Rabbi Meir says that this vow is binding until the party gives what was requested. V'chachamim omrim af ze yochol lahatir es nidro shelo al pi chacham. This too, like the previous source, where we saw there as well, a vow that can be undone even without consulting with a sage. Sheyochel lomar, the subject of the, or I should say the vow maker, the one who articulated the vow, can say, Hareini keilu hiskabalti. I view it as if I already received. And in the original vow, the vow maker said to his friend, you will have no benefit from me if you don't give my son these things. I want you to know, says the vow maker, I consider it as if I received it. Now, in order for the vow to be absolved, you need this announcement. The reason the Chachamim say that there is no vow is because there was a formal, we'll say, statement of equivalency. It's as if I received it. Without this, then the neder, the vow, would be binding. Money, who would author that? Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, Nidrei Ziruzim have. If it were Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, then this would be simply another example of Nidrei Ziruzim. Just like Reb Ozer ben Yaakov said that Nidrei Ziruzim, this concept of motivational Nedarim, meaning, in effect, non-vows, applies to inviting someone for a meal, namely, it's beyond the realm of commercial transactions. So too, this is beyond the realm of commercial transactions and would be viewed as simply Nidrei Ziruzim. Therefore, it's not a vow even without the vow maker expressing the equivalency. Elo lav rabbanon upliki. So rather, it must be that this source is authored by the Rabbanon, who argue with Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, or we should say, and you see from here that they argue, namely that without the vow maker's statement of equivalency, this would have been a real vow. So the Rabbanon disagree with Reb Ozer ben Yaakov. The Gemara says loy. And again, like we saw before, a rejection. That's why the triangle is inverted, as we explained in our previous year. The Olam Reb Ozer ben Yaakov, the source we just read, is really authored by him. Umayda Reb Ozer b'hai de nidra have. The Reb Ozer will concede that in this case you're dealing with a real vow, not a Nidrei Ziruzim. Why is this a real vow? Mishum di Omar le, because the vow maker has a statement to make. He has a stand that he wants to take. He has an agenda. He says, Lav Malko Ano. What do you think I am? I'm not a king. De Mahanino Loch Va'at Lo Mahanisli. That I give out, I distribute, I benefit you, and you don't give me anything. A king is someone who's, we'll say, is viewed as very wealthy, has almost unlimited resources. He can afford to offer benefits to the public without needing anything in return. But I'm not a king, he's saying. He says, I'm always giving you benefits, I'm always doing you favors, and you do nothing for me. Well, therefore, I'm telling you from this point on that you will have no benefit from me if you don't give me something. In this case, give my son kur chitim and shtei chaviz shayayin. Omar le Mark Shisha Brei de Rav Chisda Rav Ashi. Tashma. So we try again. We're trying to figure out what is the position of the Rabbanon with regard to Nidrei Ziruzin. Does it extend beyond Masil Mata, beyond commercial deals? Tashma Nidrei Oinsin Hediru Chavero Shiochal Etzel V'Cholohu Cholo Beno Oshikfo Nohar Ha Lav Hachi Nederhu. So what do we see over here? We see a Mishnah quoted from later on. It's another category of, we'll say, Nedarim that are not binding, and it involves Nidrei Oinsin. The word Oinus has to do with things beyond one's control. So an example of a neder that will, let's say, not be binding because of unforeseen, uncontrollable circumstances. Here you have a speaker, Hediru Chavero. He imposed a vow on his friend in order to get the friend to come over for a meal. And then then it says he took ill, or his son took ill, or he couldn't cross the river, and so he never ended up coming over for the meal. By the way, in presenting this, you might have noticed, out of character, we're using pronouns, and we're not specifying who the speaker is and who the subject is. Very much out of character with regard to our Gemara markings, shiurim. We have made mention on past occasions that one of the major problems in learning a Daf Gemara is getting confounded with pronouns, and then losing sight of who is the speaker, who is the subject, to who is being spoken to. But here we deliberately have to be vague in order to create the attempted proof, and then change things when we encounter the rejection. So in the meantime, we have a vow maker trying to get someone to eat by him, and then we see these unforeseen, uncontrollable circumstances that prevent the meal from taking place. And we continue after reading the source, we say that Halav Hachi, if not for these, we'll say, extenuating circumstances of illness or the inability to cross the river, the Nedarim would have been a binding vow, money. Who would say that this is a binding vow? Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv, if this were authored by Ozer and Yankiv, you're dealing with a straightforward case of trying to motivate someone, and even without illness, the neder would not have taken hold. Now, this source says that as a result of the illness, the neder is not binding. Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv will tell us that even without the illness, the vow would not be binding. That's called Nidrei Ziruzin, motivational vows. And we've already seen Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv say that they're not binding. Elo lav Rabbanon upligi. So it must be that this is authored by the Rabbanon, and that what we would call a neder, lazares, a neder, a vow to encourage, to motivate someone to come, that's a serious vow. And hence they argue with Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv, who extended the concept of Nidrei Ziruzin beyond commercial transactions. The Gemara says, Li oilam Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv. In truth, this source is in accordance with Rebbe Ozer ben Yankiv. And notice that this is a long rejection. You might notice we have little letters Aleph, Beis, and Gimel in parentheses. This represents basically the three stages of analysis. The first stage being, could this have been Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov? Certainly not. Stage 2, then we conclude it must be the Rabbanan, and now at stage 3 we go back to what we said at the beginning. Really, it's authored by Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, and we don't see what the position of the Rabbanan is at all. Li'olam Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov umi sabris de adre mezamno lizamina. Who is to say that it's the host, the inviter, imposing a vow on the invitee, on the guest? That would have been ziruzin, motivational, where the host is trying to motivate the friend to come over for a meal. But who says that's what it was talking about? No, it's not talking about that. In other words, it's not talking about the classic case of ziruzin. Rather, de zamino adre lemezamno. The vow taker, the vow speaker, or the vower, is the guest, is imposing a neder, a vow upon the host. The Omar lay, the guest, is saying, Mizamnis li l'sudasech, are you going to invite me for a meal, Omar Layin? Yes, the Balabaya says, the host says, yeah, I'll invite you. And the guest says, Neder zolech, would you be willing to bind yourself to a vow? V'nodar, and he did. V'cholahu, o shechola beno, o sheikvo nar. And the guest took ill, or the son of the guest took ill, or the river was such that they couldn't cross it. Harei elu nidrei oinsim. These are categorized as a neder that could not take hold because of uncontrollable circumstances. But what's important for us is that this source is not describing a case of nidrei ziruzin from the very outset. Toshma. Number 4. Yeser al kain omar Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov. Yeser means more than that which he had said in the Mishnah. Ha'omer l'chavero. Remember, Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov was, in our previous Mishnah, extending the concept of nidrei ziruzin to areas beyond the realm of commercial transactions. So, more than that which he said in the previous Mishnah, Ha'omer l'chavero koinem shani nehene loch im I ato misarech etzli v'toichal imi pas chama v'tishte imi kais chamin. I forswear benefit if you don't come and visit with me and eat with me some fresh bread and drink with me a cup of hot beverage. Valo hikpid kinegdo, and the other party was upset. Rashi says, Valo hikpid kinegdo af al gav shepire shlo hakol v'af al pi shehikpid kinegdo. Even though everything was spelled out, and even though the other party was upset. Af elu nidrei ziruzin. Even with all of this, all of the details spelled out, and the guest, the invitee being upset, all of this comes under the category of nidrei ziruzin. V'loi hoidu lo chachamim. And the chachamim did not agree that this is considered nidrei ziruzin. My loy hoidu lo chachamim. The dissent of the Chachamim stated here. Lav, we continue at the top of Amud Beis, afilu bekomaisa, even with regard to those examples mentioned before. Ushma mino, pligi rabbanon olei shma mino. And this would be then conclusive that the rabbanon disagree with Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov regarding his application of nidrei ziruzin beyond the realm of commercial activity. The Gemara asks, "My havi Allah." Now that we've established that the Chachamim disagree with the Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, how are we to rule? Does the halacha follow Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov that nidrei ziruzin is extended beyond commercial transactions, and hence that would be a leniency or not. Tashma Yom Rav Huna halacha Rav Ozer ben Yaakov. Rav Huna rules like Rav Ozer ben Yaakov. V'chein Amar Rav Adar Barava halacha Rav Ozer ben Yaakov, and he too rules like Rav Ozer ben Yaakov, which, after all is said and done, would then represent a leniency, that the concept of nidrei ziruzin, motivational vows which are not binding, extend to areas beyond commercial transaction. We continue with the new Mishnah, which deals with one of the additional categories that we saw a couple of dapim ago, about 4 kinds of Nedarim that are not Nedarim. Nidrei Havai. What is that? Omar koinim im loy ro'isi b'derech hazeh ka'ulei Mitzrayim. A person accepts upon himself through a vow, stating that, we'll use an example that you can see in the Tosfos. A person says that the fruits of the world should be konam, means like a korban, mean forbidden upon me, if I did not see a mass of people, numbering like those redeemed from Egypt, 600,000 people on the road. Or he says, Imlo ro'isi nochosh kekiras beis habad. Or he swears, he forswears benefiting from fruits if he did not see a serpent like the main, we'll say, beam in an olive press. There was a beam that was used in the course of pressing olives. So he's saying that if he did not see a serpent that was like the Kuras Beis Habad, so then the fruits of the world should be forbidden to him. Now, let's take things on a literal basis. Did he see millions of people on the road? Well, no. What was his vow? His vow was that the fruits of the world shall be Ozer if he did not see that many people, or if he did not see a very large serpent. Well, if you took things literally, he did not see millions of people on the road, and he did not see a very large serpent. So the fruit would be Ozer. And yet we're saying that the fruit of the world is mutter, because this is the way people speak when they want to make a point. They exaggerate, and they are not to be taken literally. Let's look at the Tosfos together. Nidre Havoi, Imlo Ra'isi. Tosfos says, Pirush, Shamar Kainim Perus Oilam Olai, let the fruit of the world be Ozer unto me, forbidden to me, Imlo Ra'isi, if I did not see thus and thus. Mutaren, the fruits are mutter, mitam dafidi inshi de mishtoi hochi. People speak this way. Kedei la'ameis u'letzadik is the name, in order to make a point, to strengthen their point. When a person sees something that is out of the ordinary, that's unusual, his intent is not really to forbid the fruits of the world. He's soon trying to make a point. We bear witness that the person was never serious in binding himself to this vow. The Gemara, Tana. Nidrei havoi mutorin, shvuos havoi asurin. So, nidrei havoi, as we saw already, has to do with exaggerated speech. When it comes to vows made in that context, they're not binding. However, oaths, shvuos havoi are asurin. Heichi domi shvuos havoi. What do you mean by that? He swears if he did not see on this road millions of people. Meidam Komer, did he say anything? Does that have any meaning? Is there any substance to that? And yet the source says the Shvuos Havoy Asum. So what was said? Omar Abai di Omar. The fellow said, Shvua Sheroisi. He swears that he saw millions of people on the road. Or he swore that he saw a Nochash Kikuras Beis Habad. Omar Le Rava. Im Kain lama li lamemar. If that's what the source is saying, Shavuos Havoy Asurin is just what Abaye described, so why do you need to tell me the obvious, that an oath is a binding oath? And of course he would be then guilty of violating, because he didn't really see such a thing. V'yod, and further Rava objects, Dumyo de neder kotoni. The source is describing Shavuos in the same context as Nedarim. In Nedarim, what happens? What is being said? In Nedarim, something is being, the speaker is prohibiting upon himself something through the vow. So, similarly, there should be some indication of something being prohibited through the oath. And we don't see that in Abaye's explanation. Elo Omar Rava. So this leads Rava to his own pshat. The Rush, before going on in the Gemara, on the second wide line under the Ran commentary, the Rush Imkein Loma Li Lamemar, Kevan Diomar Shvua Shera Isi. Since he's saying, I swear that I saw millions of people, Keili Mitzrayim, Pshita She'oser, Afapi Sheder Cholim Likro Lamrav Kiyotz Mitzrayim, even though it's customary for people to speak about lots of people, to be like the Yotzei Mitzrayim, nevertheless it's forbidden to swear thusly. It's only in the case of a vow that we say that a person didn't really intend the vow when he based it on his seeing like the Olei Mitzrayim. And furthermore, Rava objected that the Shavua referred to should be something like, patterned, similar to the Neder feature, where some item is being prohibited. Therefore, we continue in the Gemara text, Elo Marava, B'yomer Yesru Perosoy L'malai, B'shvua Imlo Ra'isi, B'derech Hazek Ka'ilei Mitzrayim. Let the fruit of the world be prohibited to me through a vow. In other words, if I were to eat fruits, I would be considered in violation of an oath. If what? Imlo ra'isi b'derech hazeh ka'ili Mitzrayim. If I didn't see on this road people in equivalent in number to those who left Mitzrayim. So now, did he see that? He didn't see that number. So his oath was that the fruits shall be osur on him if he did not see Ka'oli Mitzrayim. Well, since he didn't see Ka'oli Mitzrayim, so the fruit will be osur. So on this, we'll say, on this basis, or with this explanation, we understand the source that said Shavuos Havai are asurin, means the Shavua will be binding. Omar le Ravina le Ravashi, Vedilmo hai Gavra Kino de Shumshamni Chaza, Ve'asik lahain Shma Oile Mitzrayim Ve'shapir Mishtaba. Why do you say the fruits are usher? Asks Ravina. Maybe this man saw an ant colony. Kino de Shumsham. Shumshamni are ants. So he may have seen a large ant colony altogether, millions and millions of ants, and he refers to the ants as the Olei Mitzrayim, an example of a large number. Olei Mitzrayim, literally the ones that arose from Egypt, the Jews that were redeemed from Egypt. But he refers to the ants as Olei Mitzrayim. And the prohibition of the fruits is only if he did not see this large number of ants. But he did see the large number of ants. You could have a large ant colony measuring millions of ants. And he refers to ants as Olei Mitzrayim, and he saw millions of them, so the fruit should be mutter. The fruit is also only if he did not see, but he did see. v'shaber mishtaba, and his oath was a truthful oath. And therefore, why does the source say that the fruits shvus havai asurim, that the result would be that the fruits are asur? Now, the basis of Ravina's question is the term that we dashed underline, v'asik lahon shma. He referred to something as something else. He referred to the ants as Olei Mitzrayim. The Gemara continues at the top of Chof Hey Omer Aleph. Omar Lei, Rav Ashi answers, Ki mishtaba, when a person swears, Adaito didon mishtaba vanan lo maskino nafshin ashum shamni. Person vows according to our standards, and we don't call ourselves ants. The Ran at in the Ran commentary, you'll notice the Ran commentary about a quarter of the way down from the top. Adaito didon ishtaba the afagav de lo amrinon lei. Even though we don't instruct him ishtaba al datenu, swear according to our standards. Eino nishba al ma sheyesh belibo el al datenu. When a person swears, he doesn't swear according to his own thinking. He swears according to our standards. And likewise, the Rashi at the top, Adaito didon ishtaba kederach shebnei odom nishboin, the way people regularly swear. V'ein derech bnei odom likro l'nemolim olei mitzrayim. It's not normal. It's not the way of people to refer to ants as the redeemed ones of Egypt. At this point, as you can see, we have a triangle marking scheme. The sugya continues, and we should have noted a little earlier that the discussion of does a person swear according to his own thinking or according to popular thinking, this is a topic that continues down through this omen. So in the context of our Daf Yomi Gemara marking shiur, this would be a somewhat convenient pausing point, but realize that we're in the middle of a discussion.